Running studio kora getindoi tot team Kipchumba ako inendet kunat missing ko people senator nebo county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet County, very vibrant young leader mwenye ako very youthful and promising, yeah. So eng betut running ngalale nyasutyo noto kibiten county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet eng betut Jumamos kembaut nekiyekchin betutab Jumamos so lekibit ngasiang natetab ngony ako inguni kutakotesetai rescue team kuchenge biik chemwat kele toma kenyor ako inguni biik 16 ako kokobet sabanwek biik 35 komite biik chetakomite sipitali kotesetai konyoru kanyoiset. So kinyasutiet neo kabisa nekimuch ko affectan biik chotok mite kiwato nebo Marakwet ak Keyo komasta nebo Endo and some regions around there. So kongitinye tebutiet age tugul angen kora kole tesetai ngalekab donations kosta komawet kora gine ngot komi chini kase mara meje koite support nengung amu families che affected komasata ko gi families che jang missing ako makchingei toretet makoi much serikali nege kokochi toretet kobate kora chi age tugul neimuchi kokoito toretet koityi bichotok kotakot ketesetai anan ketesetai ketochi toretosiek kobun biik che terter ako tesetai kora rescue team ko chenge amu mat kela ko ngune toma kenyor biik 16 chetakomiseni so tagetesetai kechenge bichotok. So ngitinye any your comments anan ngotebutiet age tugul because kora kingolale akoba bandaptai nebo emet, polatet, youth in politics, leadership ko ngitinye tebutiet age tugul eng mheshimiwa team eng betutab rani iyakwet kityo eng nambarishek chemite eng screen nengunget anan kora iwe Facebook page nebo Kass TV inde yotok tebutiengung asiketebe inendet ketesetai. Otherwise mheshimiwa, karibu studio.
Kongoi Jackie. Kongoi Kass mashinani. Kongoi Kass family tugul. Kongoi amu support nyokote biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County. College biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County mutyo kobo nyasutiet nekabitu. Kiru kaikaiet akelechi ke sabokore alechi biikab Imbolot, biikab Kamoko, Kwenoi, Kagsegei, Kibendo, Matum, Kerbut, Kipkurwon, Chechan, alechok mutyo mu nyasutioni. Alechok ke kaikai kelechi ke sabokore makita Mungu makosa. Kenamgei kibagenge.
So angen mheshimiwa le mara mite chini watching for the first time in Kass TV kimeche kenai kele ka kwano ibunwere ngiro. Yes.
So kainenyo ko team Kipchumba lakini kinetar siasa ko ki kaine ne nyoo kikure kait sait amu team Kipchumba kau ko sambirir kabiego Marakwetiste ako lelan lakini so barabara nyiko katila ngate kap sawar chesoy kap cheresha chesoy akoi chokor akoi chesongoj ko barabara nyowiti ka polling station nyanyon ko Matum ke ngat Matum, so that's my polling station. So kao ku Elgeyo Marakwet County kwa jumla lakini kama mama ko Keyo.
Okay.
Mama ko bunu Keyo. Baba nanyo kubunu Marakwet.
So ngele Keyo half Marakwet. So actually ngele well represented.
Abunu Elgeyo man.
Yeah. So kingalala ko ba nyasutiet noto ko biting komasta nebo Elgeyo Marakwet ako mheshimiwa, the sad part ko this is not the first time na ikibarenjini this issue mangenale as one of the leaders most of the time when you people's opinions on so many things that is time go kwatinwe ko mara ne yarorwech especially picture mara matindoi a picture of how Elgeyo Marakwet is ako nene mara kosene these things ako nene nyalo kwa serikali sigegergela at the end of the day ko kagimuch keitlet these nyasutik chuchuto. Yeah.
So Elgeyo Marakwet County ko ketinye Lomut, korondenek chole Lomut, Hanging Valley. So we have Hanging Valley. If you are new to Elgeyo Marakwet County, getting 3 types of climatic zones. So mi Kerio River, so the Kerio Valley, the Kerio Valley, you know, is probably one of them. Okay, lenyo le fertile kapisa. But then kanyishek chachang kariya wale kiki momi amani. Kene momi amani kiki longu beach, many people came up. Kene longu beach, consequently they ended up inhabiting the more kamastuk jogi garoranin. And then getting at the middle strip at the you know labda ne Marakwet is thing at the war walk koi embabut. So that middle land ku legit lomut, so you have the hanging valley and then now island. So kamusta niya ba chepto okoy cabin embabut all the way. So nili keny kagi umora gele kimi rob nyo keny lakini kitamu kuchunyo suti nyote ni nyenye kingata gore lakini kimo sirio bichachang nile kiptunge. So 1960 1961 kiki rob lakini mo rock che bichachang. Not many people died in the 1950s. In fact nile kigure rob tanyine kala kigure boy chemruombe. So it was a heavy rain in those early days of 1960. But then it didn't really cause as much damage as it has happened now, partly because we probably had a bit more soil cover. Okay. So, lakini you know more boy ke rip korenyon ake liop kore ya ke sochi korenyon amu sikubit you know can you more gele kira koros, you know, like you bless the land, you take care of the land so that we can coexist. So for the people that are new to Elgeyo Marakwet County, the itself is difficult. Okay, 2020 ko kikinyoru landslide nyo karibu tena nyinyi. So kikipotesan biik ole 28 you know Sambala, you know Cheseko, kirok lagu cha chang tatia. So iman it's now been repetitive. This is the second major one. But then over the last 10 years, we've now had these 2 massive or 3 massive landslide, which means that because of the nature of our land, lazima ke lagu tayari as a region. But this particular one, Jackie, in the serikali katamagi mugay ke toret bi Elgeyo Marakwet County. Kinebitu nyusutyon yenye Jumamosi, Jumapili kikage relief food lakini kimatildoi rage oret. So leadership nyebo serikali nyenye bo Arab Ruto Daktari led by CS Murkomen and county government and all the multi stakeholders who responded with a lot of figure and speed. Kebensheri air rescue and ketoret so many lives. Nile Monday wanakiamya cow kiki rescue 3 lives, you know, just as Monday. And helicopters kibeti karibu mara 5. You know, we had about 5 trips just using helicopters ke tete chakula. So maraleje kapsa serikali nyonyon kongay, very grateful for their response. Ako serikali jabo counties jabo Uasin Gishu, Governor Chelilim, Governor Kachapin, serikali jabo Baringo, they came really kilogu chorwe chokororon in jabo Elgeyo Marakwet County. Very, very, very good friends, and we thank them for their support for the people of Marakwet and for the people of Keyo, and so this disaster would have gone worse if it weren't for the really swift humanitarian response. Red Cross, all the multi-stakeholders team for the level of support. Right now, there's a registration for support. Endo mu sambirir kidogo Muembabut ogo Kibendo ogo shelter, so temporary shelter kaketek temporary shelters but then agitumi tesetai search and rescue amatamu kenyoru bicho karibu 15 so sige amache mwochi kongoi kabisa vijana chebo Elgeyo Marakwet County chebo Endou choki ngetu kupka agnam awen ku toretech kewas bicho choki really to thank the young people of Elgeyo Marakwet, particularly the ones of Endo that came through to really search for life, to search to be involved in the search and rescue. If it weren't for them, Kenya Army, NYS, Bicho Tokol, it might not have been possible. Red Cross, led by Oscar, it would not have been possible to rescue as many lives and also to recover the bodies. You know, culturally, mukolenjin Tokol, lasma kenyoru por so that sinemi alanga we, you know, ke nimban gagir burial, then you know we can come close to accepting the fatality as it were.
So like ngiger une the picture of the place tos kogi move picture to another place ama what's really happening ago donations chukigoitoy specifically meant for what?
So right now kigair so tasatai search and rescue, tasatai registration for support, kagi relocating beach to safer ground to temporary shelter because remember the entire place is still flattened and it's still not safe. So we've relocated people to temporary shelters. And then we are now, so mige so me support nyobo food or non-food items. Serikali ogo partners tokol, you know, Cop Bank, Red Cross, and so many other partners together with the nearby county governments. Food items or non-food items. I think right now, nile torete nyo o nyo some kunyobo non-food items, so clothing, would be dignity kits. That's the biggest help we need right now. Things around clothing, and then immediately after, shelter, because now all these people need to be relocated to safer ground. Then you know now livelihood restoration, because remember. Migri kapchoge kumagumito tinga chiseling kumagumito healing post trauma counseling as it were. Schools have been you know students need to be reintegrated back again. So the large support right now will really go towards a little bit counter government serikali kagrip jabo treatment. Daktari jabo MTRH, the rest of the team, everyone that went to MTRH is alive. Most of them have been discharged. So we thank them for that. Lakini most of the help right now kupo restoring livelihoods. So food, non-food stuff items, especially non-food stuff items, or shelter. And then very soon now, you know, livelihood restoration, school fees, ketoret lagu igupa school, and on and on and on.
Yeah, so kemwa wechi gone history mwile in around 60 something go give you the first landslide in that place ago 2020 ago right now 2025 probably because kemwa that time in 1960s ko gima ko major and gima ko yago tiki ke borenji currently, so probably sigo the more the years go, the more it becomes more dangerous. So
more of which means that these things are natural calamities because the lay of the land, you know, China, India, Venezuela, like now recently Jamaica, Venezuela, they had massive landslides, and you know why? Because just of the nature of the land. The Marakwet, Elgeyo is very beautiful, but because it's beautiful, the land already itself is such that it lends itself to natural disasters as it were. Lakini, I think, you know, koron din actually lomut kusikchini ketuyo ko bichot, ketuyo ko viongozi, kero nemugaga ketot labda kahawa, ketot ket on the valley, on the hanging valley. So that a huge portion of the hanging valley, maybe we plant cash crops, we plant trees, and then more of our people, more of our people can live on the fertile land as it were. You know, it's biblical. You know, God wants us, you know, that we can live on the land. So I think you know the old men in our place so we pray for the land, but we also take care of the land. So I think one of the largest intervention in the coming days ko rondenek chole serem ketot majani korondenek chole lomut ne chamungu as we get relocation temporary for our region, that hanging valley may potentially become the place where coffee can be planted, and it's so beautiful. And you know, because you know you wake up in the morning and you see the sunrise as it were, the coffee that we are likely to get from that side of the region is likely to be destination coffee, which I think that can be part of the intervention. But then the other thing also, the roads need. Really, we need a lot more work around engineering, you know, get stabilize and barabara, you know, we do soil stabilization, we do gabions, we do better drainage control, so that because I mean Europe, a lot of Europe is equally as dangerous. China equally as dangerous. But then because of engineering and because of funding available, you can protect the human lives as it were. So there are things that human beings can do on a dangerous land like Elgeyo Marakwet County. But then there are also things that you know, government, if possible, with funding now in the coming days, can begin to do. You know, road infrastructure, stabilizing the roads, doing gabions. It will require a little bit of funding and a bit of support, but I think those are the immediate things we can do. County government, Elgeyo Marakwet County, lasima ke RIP, ke tau disaster response unit. Yeah, ne lebi chogi nyoru kanai gele na kucho kichorop we managed to save them. Yes. So I think the next leg now is kenyuru early warning system. You know, maybe ke technology, ground sensors, rainfall, you know, you are likely to have this level of rainfall and it's likely to cause this level of landslides. What we can do, particularly with the national response unit as well as county response unit, so that where they still risk landslide, you know, to reduce the damage as it were. Natural calamities are part of climate change and climate mitigation. So I think that's the long-term plan really, is to figure out how can we fight the effects of climate change and climate effects in a land where it's already predisposed to landslides.
Okay, ngalale long-term measures change of course, this is not the first time, this is not the second time. Probably the government also go slowing it down in terms of acting, because if this thing was implemented in 2020, probably losing the lives that you've lost. And now again, ngalega disaster management team. This is now the right time, because very good ideas, but at the end of the day, implementation is where it slows down. So inyende taza mpiganaji wa haki ya watu wa kaunti yako, one of the leaders Inyorumoni from Raya. Nene igerele nya look acting as quick as possible, because the more the years, the more the population.
Yeah.
So this population eteseta ko growing kone nya look government ko at the end of the day to these people, because if possible came in kawe on the hanging valleys. But now where do these people go to?
That's true.
Yeah.
Iman, I think one important thing, in the coming days, next week Thursday, kiaye burial nebo Kibendo. Terik tiptem kiaye burial nebo Sambirir Embobut, terik tiptem agongo kiaye burial nebo Kerio Valley. post that care resettlement, those people, and then begin doing shelter and livelihood restoration. And I think soon after that, Kogararan daga form a task force to look into this possibility so that we don't repeat this every single year and say the same things every single year. If there is something, is the level of response we've seen this government. Jackie, itingenye charwa chop ko ni Elgeyo Marakwet County, Marakwet side. Nele landslide nyogi togo 2020. Momimba helicopter nyogi wo. There was not even a single helicopter that attended to the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County. This particular one, I think we had nearly 5 helicopter trips to just save lives and to deliver. So honestly, I mean, the team led by CS Murkomen, all our professionals, not just from Elgeyo Marakwet County, we have groups like Wareng. And later this evening, a team led by Dr. Laxmana Lamaon, the CEO for CAS, Honorable Koche, will be meeting at AIC Milimani to mobilize support for people that are well-wishers and diaspora professionals as it were. So just to appreciate that it's true we've not done enough. We've not done enough in terms of emergency disaster fund, in terms of emergency response unit, in terms of actively doing something around making the place tourism destination so that we rely less on agriculture, but maybe we can sell more of tourism. We've not done a good job at that, but to be honest, the level of response we've seen this time around has been it has been the best you can ever ask in a humanly possible environment. And I think the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County are appreciative of that. The organizing committee, some of them have not slept. People like, I don't know, Team Kilimo, Oscar of Red Cross, and their teams have not slept for the last 1 week. So we thank them for that. But I think you are right. There might be a world in which we need to look and meet our people and work with stakeholders, work with government, work with environmental bodies, and see if we could potentially get a little bit of land on the islands, and then people that are living on the escarpment may potentially be relocated on those islands. It's a difficult conversation, but it might allow us to save lives, because what has now happened is that for all these years we've never had peace at the valley, and because we didn't have peace at the valley, people are still searching for livelihood, so they moved way up. We thank this government for peace in Elgeyo Marakwet County. For the last 3-4 months, it's been peaceful. The Elgeyo Marakwet County, particularly the Kerio Valley, can feed the nation. Nele Kerio Valley, ko kanan, moregele kanan, the land of honey, the land of mangoes, mi bai pai, mi ne. So we can export a lot of that and feed the country. But as we do that, because of the peace now in the valley, we can occupy the valley as it were. So if we do that and then combine with, ketot kaawa mu koron de nekchole lomut ketot ket mu koron de nekchole ketot machani mu koron de nekchole serem, then I think we will really have done a beautiful thing. My real hope is that Elgeyo Pole can become a destination region. It's a beautiful land. Jack in Netami Wawangu, you come to Elgeyo. If you are not married, you should get married in Elgeyo, because the land is a beautiful land, and the people are hospitable, very good people. So we could now start saying, okay, we grow coffee, we grow tea, we do agroforestry, we sell tourism. There are parts of this country that wazungu wanalipa pesa mingi ya tourism. So we can also, package the region as a destination tourism. But with peace now, I think yata relocation itakuwa fadhali. So because now that land that is now available will allow more people to move from the Hanging Valley down to the base of the Kerio Valley. So
kaimwaile for the other time ko maunyoru full support ko government, but this time round ko nyoru full support, like in terms of rescue, in terms of food donations and stuff like that. Now, are you optimistic, probably going forward we might never encounter count as such and have people lose their lives? Or is it promising, or what are you looking at?
No, I think it's promising. If you see the level of goodwill, this government, the government under Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we can never ask for any better. So I'm confident that a task force will be set up to really look into livelihoods, to look at climate change, to look at ways we can work with development partners to do precisely what we've just discussed, disaster response units at national and county levels, using technology, opening infrastructure, livelihood restoration, agroforestry, coffee, tea. So I'm optimistic that hopefully a task force can be formed so that even when landslides will be there, because Jackie, the land is such that it's hilly. It's you have regions of Elgeyo Marakwet County that might be as high as 75 degrees. So there will always be landslides. So we already know that now, just based on history. The lay of the land is such that there might be landslides. But the idea would be to reduce, actually to avoid human loss, and then to make sure that livelihoods will not be disrupted by natural calamities. Elimo, America, Venezuela, all these countries, every 10 years, come hurricanes.
Yes.
Every 10 years, everyone knows. Hurricanes, you'll always have these cyclones and things like that. But what people do is that they plan ahead and say, what can we possibly do to reduce the damage? California recently, Venezuela recently, India recently, they have these natural disasters, particularly aggravated now by climate change. So I think the idea is, I am really optimistic that President William Ruto, just going by this last experience, not even to praise them just because I support the government, but just going by the level of swift humanitarian response, I am confident that they will think more long term, so that we can set up a task force recommendation so that we don't come to studio just to cry and then the same thing recurs next year.
Sure. So jitap kalenji neng studio gemite agenge ak team Kipchumba kubun Elgeyo Marakwet County ago ngalale ago banya suteno to go bitinge bebertane ba Elgeyo Marakwet tagote seta rescue team go jenge big tabanak lo jemat kele to magenyor ago inguni go bet so Mahmoud mitebi kita gote seta go nyoruga nya seteng hospitali mitebi koraje go kitiakta eng hospitali ta Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital kita ne bagama no kote seta eng alega donations ago kisa michi agetugul netindoi maget nemie ananiba nemuchi kotaret big chotok pa Elgeyo Marakwet County ko target seta getaje donations igoite donations asige much ketaret picha daga mu makchinge ngoroik makchinge amitwage makchinge kila kitu ku makchinge nguni ako magoi much serikali nege anan ko much biga Elgeyo Marakwet jege. So it doesn't matter what county you're coming from, but at the end of the day tareteta getugul nege ko chichege ko it will go a long way. So kimitege banguni Chitap kalenjin tesetai tetutap kas machinani live eng studio ago kitesetai ge bun logo iwek tesetai eng counties teterteri wati limite sirik chok cheba logo iwek eng counties ko tesetai go sibil logo iwek ago nota ge bendi ge bun tugul go wolo eng studio koraing betutap running studio ge mite active Kipchumba in the people senator jeba neba county neba Elgeyo Marakwet kingalale ago banya sutet na to go bitingo neget eng county neba Elgeyo Marakwet ko bit ngasyang na tetap ngon eng master neba Endo ak some part of Marakwet Elgeyo. So saizi kutago mite rescue team go jenge big tamanak sloch mat kele to magenyori 35 people go ibeta bane kwa gelen mutia misinga menge gap county Elgeyo Marakwet at large kimite pamoja ago mite big kita kuteseta go nyoruganya setting hospitali. So ago go kitakta bigalak kita ne bagama not kabisa ko teseta go goita tarete picture terter go getesta ge goita gurset eng bagenge shakes the colders chege tugul na maget ne miene ba go gergole kai mut ko taret pichota kamu picture ba koma sata go Monday, anything, like everything was swept away. Makchinge amitwagik, makchinge ngoroik, makchinge kipsomaninik komakchingei kitabushek, makchingei uniform and everything. There's so much that needs to be done there. Ako makoimuch government inegei kotoret biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County. So eng betutab rani kimeche team sikonech contacts chemuch keboishe eng biik chotok mache kokoito toretosiek koityi biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County. Yeah.
So amache alechi biikab Kalenjin tugul konyobo Kalenjin alecho ke opwa ketoretkei ak biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County keyai owendo ketoret biikab Kerio Valley, biikab Sambirir, biikab Kibendo, biikab Embobut. Number nemuch iboishe ngimuche itoretech ko 522533 paybill number 522533 ako account number ko 8036543. Achek biikab Kalenjin ngobitu nyasutiet ketechegei tugul, ketirgei tugul ake gaigei amu gaigaigaet ko kiruk kimnon gaigaigaet amu if we come together as a people of the region, generally the disaster and the loss of life will be more bearable because we are pulling together. So asame torotengwong on behalf of the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, yes, as their people senator ole kongoi. Today in the evening ko tusot big professionals chebo koti tugul biikab professionals chebo Elgeyo Marakwet County ko boto diaspora ak chorwek cho tugul tusot AIC Milimani. So amache somole opwa ketoretkei tugul. Thank you already for the well wishes. If you come from Uasin Gishu, if you come from Baringo, if you come from West Pokot, if you come from the nearby counties, you've already been good citizens. So much more wawonge biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County, especially biikab Kalenjin tugul ak akine biik chekosich kokonech toretet. I'm very grateful to you on behalf of the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Yeah, so mheshimiwa kingen kele much kutebege chito kumwa kole probably amu kingen kele 2020 yes, kingo the disaster koma much konyor mengingap komasata the biggest supporters compared to now. Someone might be thinking like, could it be because of good political will netindayo mengingap Elgeyo Marakwet County? Now assuming kingen kele politics ko maybe it changes, right? Ako probably during 2020 maybe there was no good political will, yeah. So what is the long-term strategy as leaders, as stakeholders to Elgeyo Marakwet? Because at the end of the day, Gorago, it's good when you have that opportunity to utilize it well and have that political goodwill, over issue or make an impact, that by 2032 or 20, because disasters happen, it's not the first time and probably it's not going to be the last time. Okay, at the end of the day, you've put in structures that will ensure that next time there's such a disaster, no lives will be lost, no roads will be stuff like that. Yeah.
Iman chaki. Kagunyoru support anine amu serikali nyinyi ko serikali nyonyon. 2027 gocha Mungu ko nyoru President Arap Ruto. But you are right. I think we should take advantage right now to plant seeds for long term, so that we can do something more meaningful right now. You know, peace, livelihood restoration, if it's afforestation, if it's climate change, if it's working with partners to build disaster response and management, if it's turning the region into an export of both good cash crop and tourism. I think this is the right time. And I think Mheshimiwa CS Kipchumba is doing that. He's very determined that these 5 years, or these 3 years ahead of 2027, that there is peace, there is infrastructure. But I think that's also the challenge. That's the challenge for every person today that is in government to really leave an impact. Yoimi anine ikilge itoret big amu, you never really know. 2032 the region may not have a president like William Samoei Ruto. So I think we should make hay when the sun shines. Yeah, we should really make hay when the sun shines. Kelechi ke biik ab kotit tugul kegilgei ketoretkei kotoretech serikali konamwech whatever they are able to do. Komi dam, keboishe dams to contain part of the impact nyebo so maybe kenyoru Embabut Dam, maybe kenyoru Aror Dam, kenyoru Embolot, so that part of that can also help us with mitigation of a disaster when we still can. Hopefully, 2032, Gochamuich Mungu, you never really know. We might be able to play a critical role. But you are right. You are right. We are enjoying the level of goodwill today because this government is a good government, as it were, more responsive, not just to the people of our region, but to the country at large. But yeah, I think we should do that. We really should do that, which is why I was going to call for a task force to be built, to be done after this, after burials, Koyorin 21st, I think we should not allow this to just go like that. We really need to do a task force. Elgeyo Marakwet County, development partners, to really build a long-term, climate mitigation and adaptation plan about Elgeyo Marakwet County ko jumla, and actually broadly about the larger Kerio Valley region, all the way from Turkana, Samburu, West Pokot, all the regions that are likely to be affected, because this challenge is mostly for the Kerio Valley, as it were, the Great Rift Valley. So I think there's an opportunity to do something right now, when we can, particularly after now, Kagage Toret people, Elgeyo Marakwet County, to begin settling.
Okay, aside from Ngalegab disaster, you have been vying for Senate in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Probably a politician is always a politician. We know that 2027 hautakosa. So major issue in Elgeyo Marakwet County go Ngalegab roads, Ngalegab health, and schools. Especially that time Kingo meeting Ngalegab insecurity in the part of Kerio Valley. So many schools were affected. At Ngalegab health kidogo ilirudi nyuma. So what is your development agenda if tomorrow, because it's just 1 year or so, 2 years, that you feel like you're going to do and bring a very big impact in terms of Ngalegab health, Ngalegab schools, and Ngalegab roads?
Yeah, no, Senate is the upper house.
Yeah.
So I think really the big job of a senator is to articulate the challenges of the people, to bring leaders together, to advance the critical agenda and opportunity today. I think the greatest challenge for this decade is opportunities. What do young people need opportunities?
Yes.
So we need to explore different ways we can potentially create more opportunities, whether it's agriculture, whether it's marine, whether it's maritime trade, whether it's agroforestry, wherever there can be an opportunity. I think that's the real job over the next over the next decade, because right now in Kenya, vijana around Africa, more than 500 million young people that. So now with peace, to start getting peace along the valley, I think it's to turn the valley to become the valley of hope and valley of export and valley of wealth. That export to the rest of the country and to the rest of the world will earn us money, and that money can be then utilized to increase tax base for the county. I think right now, own source revenue in Nyobo County, Elgeyo Marakwet County, is less than 5% of the money we receive from national government. We need to increase that own source revenue so that more services can be given to our people, and then really find ways to support asoli ya kila mtu.
Yes.
Kama ni mama mboga, kama ni vijana, kama ni groups, kama ni women groups, work with churches, work with all stakeholders to make sure that we can create opportunity, because if we can create more income in people's pockets, we can really easily, very well, do livelihood, we can advance more livelihoods. amejamwaji kongoi wanabiashara wadogo chebo Elgeyo Marakwet County. They came through, they gave their resources to support the victims chebo Kagisege, Kerio Valley, Sambiriri, Mbabut, Kibendo. And we need more of those people. We need to, really government in the end. In the end, government is about how can I support Jackie? How can I support Team? How can I support Benedine? How can I support Amos? How can I support all these people to achieve their full potential? So I think that will really be my hope, is that I can, if I get a chance to be the senator down the line, I think today is not really the right time to talk about that, but today is really just to say all LGP Elgeyo Mutyo, LGP Sambirir Mutyo, LGP Mbabut Mutyo, LGP Kibendo Mutyo, Kamama, LGP Kerio Valley Mutyo, Age Toret K, and then really to thank truly Kemoji Sergali Nyonya Gonga, Kemoji, CS Eric Muga, CS Deborah, CS CS Murkomen, KDF, Kena, Kura, Kilijo Kongai. As late as 3 days ago, Kamutinya Barabara, connecting the entire Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now we have roads. Wow. 2 days ago, Kamutinya Stima, Kenya Power, Kemoji CEO, engineer Dr. Joseph Siror, Kongai, for restoring power now. Kena, the same thing. So Kera. I think really this is a very beautiful moment because we've responded in a humane way. But I think Iman that neita soon. We form a task force to make sure that when these disasters come, we are a better prepared people and can even become a benchmark for, this happened, then this is what we ended up doing, and we mitigated and avoided loss of lives.
Yeah, me chitanegagere katep kole, of course there were warning signs. Those as a government, county government, and maybe stakeholders, why didn't you people communicate probably to the women in the villages and people there to ensure that they are aware of these warning signs and they are able to move as fast as possible? Because ngalega disaster at the end of the day, there are always warning signs, and you can tell, So do you also think that there is need for maybe civic education around those areas to ensure that they are able to read the warning signs and be able to be cautious? No,
there is. I think that's the reason Governor Weasley Kogilge. Elgeyo Marakwet County is reasonably disadvantaged. We have less funding. We've been marginalized for a very long time. We've had many challenges, insecurity. But I think we could do better. We could have done better with a disaster response unit. With maybe early warning signs. We could have leveraged technology. Every phone call, every phone in this region, kila mtu anaamshwa, hopefully using AI and Safaricom. Ndio kila mtu hiyo sene saa 9 nyabogarun kenget chitol. Everyone is woken up because every phone is ringing and people are told, please move to higher ground. There is a risk of this one happening. I think over the next coming years, one of the things to do on the regions that are very prone to disasters, we leverage other engineering, technology related, whatever, that can detect earth movement, use rainfall, predict that, okay, in 2000, the rainfall was this much, 2020, 2025. So once you get this level of rainfall in this kind of region, this kind of disaster is likely to happen. And so we can do early warning systems, early communications, emergency response. I think that's really part of the things that in the future the task force can recommend, a disaster response unit as it were, so that really we really reduce, because we know now that our region is likely to have the same challenge. There is Momia Acha, Kenap, Nerego, or when it happens again, Kelejigay, so we could really do something. But Elgeyo Marakwet County is a very small county. We receive very little funding as it were. So I think over the next coming years, as we get more partners and we get more funding and we get more support from the national government and our partners, we can channel that support to do a little bit more than we could have done this time round. Yeah.
Of course kuna wana wale wazee waishik change nisko.
Yeah.
I don't know if in your region they are there, and probably maybe also could they have ama they are still not there because
no mite mwae boy kole kire korosyo. Yeah, kire korosyo. So kiliopo gore kesochi gore. So I think after this also nisirto kage masishi kesom bibo kanisa kesom boishe kelechi keliop korenyo kesochi korenyo kimwoe boy kele kiliopo gore akekirik. Yeah, so make sure that it never happens again. Itaune kaben akoi kitewonji kibendo. Yeah, so that's also I think one of the things to do. Is to pray for our land so that we can inherit the land. This is not new, and kinele ken kugi they kibeshi boy sirimyon agelap ter. We would break the boat that has been broken. And then we bury it on the place where there has been landslide. And it's part of the culture of our people to say we bless the land again because we've lost human lives. We also bless the land so that tomorrow it can bring more lives.
So
so we will do that now after 22nd. Then we call the wazee and bless our land again, and then surprisingly there would be no landslides if we do that plus whatever we are planning.
Okay, as we wind up, Mheshimiwa, connect the pay bill number, never donations. Kagemwile, there is an event run jioni. So you can tell us.
So two sort professionals togol jaba Elgeyo Marakwet County ako diaspora ako well wishers togol chabo kote chabo chole chorwe jaba Elgeyo Marakwet County anine saita managong amu AIC Milimani torete nyo mu ikone ku torete nyebo financial but also food staff or non-food staff. I think we are okay on the food staff. We need clothes, we need dignity kits, we need other things like that. Like for the pay bill, as I'm all kevoishe pay bill number 522533 522533 account number 8036543 8036543. Ile jina itaonyesha ku Elgeyo Marakwet Disaster Management Fund na hiyo itatusaidia ketoret biiko tokol joga kanyoru nyasutioni mu Elgeyo Marakwet County makerio vale kityo but biche bo Moror Kerbut Matum Kibendo Kasegei Kipkurwon Chechan ako Kibendo. The number again ko 522533 803 pay bill number 522533, account number 8036543. Kongoi.
Okay, way forward for Team Kipchumba.
No. It aside.
So, lakini
2027 go inside.
Lakini ututosea quick in these events. I know you'll be there.
Yes, so I will be there. I will try as much as possible to do at least 1 or 2 of the burials. And I'm gay, just like we've done the last 1 week. Kongoi.
Kongoi Mheshimiwa. I'm hoping to host you again. It's been, because again time imeenda mbio sana. I really wanted to continue, but you are rich with knowledge.
Kongoi. Thank you Chaki. Thank you Missing. Thank you Kas Mashinani. Thank you Kas family. We are very grateful for your support.
All right. So jitap kalenzi neng studio betu tabrani go gagimite acting Kipchumba inendet ko agenge engando ngabula tetibunu county de Elgeyo Marakwet County given 2022 for Senate alafu pia kimokchini chemia tumesema this time round ni vijana so wale very knowledgeable na anatakia mema watu wa Elgeyo Marakwet County sifanyi campaign lakini so kongoi missing we have cut it engasatandika ogonech ogerite tuteta kas mashinani kigure na Jacqueline Arusei komaloge tutosi engloge gabemet.